As I'm live, let's hope it's correct. I found off. Right, am I live? Am I live? Let's see. Looks like everything appears to be working on my end. Make sure the Discord notification went out. It did. Oh gosh. Been a while since I've done this. Oh gosh, is everything working appropriately? Ugh. Make sure we're all doing well. Hello! Okay, yep, there we go. I see people coming in. Hello Poop, hello Dex. Good to see you both. Just double checking everything on the stream is working, because of course I'm liable to screwing things up. Yeah, hi Mine, sorry. I did put out the initial post yesterday, which said it was going to be Sunday, and then literally about 5 seconds after I uploaded that post, I realized, shit, I'm busy Sunday, so I changed it to today, and I hoped nobody would think it was Sunday, but I might have got that wrong. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to stream today either, so, you know. Hi, Dark. Hi, Boss. Good to have you all here. Oh, I'll give people a bit of time to join in the stream and just make sure it's all going to go well, but I'm finally getting around to doing the second Patron stream because I didn't end up doing it last week because I forgot what last week was. Which, I'll just say it, I mean, it was the 1 year anniversary of my dad passing away, unfortunately, so I was like, I'm not really up for it, but this week, we're all good, so figured I would actually do it. So, but yes, today we're going to be doing part 2 of the Patron builds, and this is going to be a bit different than when we did the deity builds, because, like, at least with the deity builds, like, I knew what I was getting into, because we had a list to work from, but this time we kind of don't, so I think I'll just be taking some suggestions from you guys, and we'll vote on which ones we want to do. Hi, Ilya, good to see you. Yeah, it did say Sunday, and then I changed it because I'm an idiot who forgets that I'm busy at times. Oh, no, Sylph, you're not late, we literally just got started. Maybe I'll put out a community post as well, just to make 100% sure. Let's see. Yeah, copy text. And then we can put out a post. Hello, Smiling Knight. Good to have you here. Let's see. Create post. Here we go. We are live with 2 EP. There we go. Post it on the community page. And then people on the YouTube side of things can see this as well. Yay! You're actually here for this one. Hi, Chloe. Good to have you here. Nice to see you. We can make a list and then have people vote for it somewhere. Yeah, that's the thing. We'll kind of just take a look at the overall list that we have on the, the Forgotten Realms wiki, because that's obviously the primary resource for the information that we'll be gathering. So we can kind of have a look. But I know there's some D&D lore nuts, shall we say, here in the chat, so I'm pretty sure we can get some ideas. I look over and then the first thing I see is I don't know a whole lot about D&D. Oh dear. But yeah, basically the general idea is that we'll just have a look at some options. I know there's been some suggested in the Discord already. I believe I got one yesterday. I can't remember where from though. And I think we could just take a look at some interesting creatures and like powerful beings in the lore that make sense for the Patron build, and we could just go from there. You liked my Cyric build? It was pretty fun. Just completed Honor and Duo with Shadowhunt. Nice! I'm glad the Cyric build worked out, because I wasn't sure how well that would do. And did you actually use it in Honor mode? That's... Easy first. Cass is a counterpart to Vecna. Only issue, he's not Forgotten Realms, so far as I know. Well, it doesn't matter, because he's on the wiki, I'm pretty sure. Hang on. Or not. Oh, perhaps I'm wrong. But it doesn't matter. Like, again, Forgotten Realms isn't the only resource we can use. This is just the one that I know the best, and it connects more to BG3, so it just makes it a bit easier. I know Cass was in the Vecna lore. I know he was. If I go to Vecna... So we looked at it last time. I swear we did. Yeah, got his ass... Where's the thing where it said he got his ass beat? There you go. Oh, this is a totally different... This is a totally different wiki. Cass, the Bloody-Handed, was the most... Oh, so this is from Greyhawk. Ooh, yeah, a setting I'm much less familiar with. Hello, Luke Shadow, good to have you here. Tom Bomb as well. Gosh, there's a few people I don't recognize here today. Good to see you all. Yeah, but I was using a mod for level 20 and go, I see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, level 20 will definitely change for dynamic there. But yes, we can have a look at a few different things and see how we go. You really want to see a Titania build? We need more Archfey. Let's see. Could be an interesting one. I haven't done a proper Archfey in a while. Oh, okay. Okay, we're going to click off that image. You got to be careful with, like, the older editions of D&D, because you can suddenly click on 2nd edition, and there's just... titties out. they were crazy back in the day. Yeah, Fae stuff. Okay, don't even... I have a complicated history with the Feywild because of one certain individual. Holy shit, why is there, like... Why is, like, the big Zelda music coming on? I said relaxing music, not fucking final boss music. What was that? That's better. But yeah. Let's go back to what I was looking at. Yeah, Titania. Yeah. Yeah, I am that individual. Yeah, I figured you'd be hanging around. That's why I said it. Oh, dear. It's decided to make another Zelda-inspired build. One day. I kind of did all of them, though. Like, the 3 main ones, anyway. Don't know what else I would do. There's a lot of cool Archfey Darker ones included. Okay, maybe we could do, like, an Archfey focus today. That could be kind of sick. Talks about trouble with the Feywild, boss music instantly starts. Yeah, I know, right? I just got jump scared. Right. Titania, also known as Tiandra, was the Summer Queen of the Feywild, leader of the Summer Fae, and possibly the mightiest of all Archfey. She was known as the Fairy Queen and the Queen of Light, and led the Seelie Court. Yeah, this is all stuff I've heard before. Okay. Let's have a look at what we've got to work with here. Titania appeared as an Eladrin of immense beauty. Her skin was the colour of honey, and her hair shimmered the colours of autumn leaves. Her eyes glowed with gold like the sun. Alternatively, her avatar would appear as a small but beautiful gossamer-winged fairy with a flawless pale skin and immaculate cheekbones and grey-blue eyes. Interesting. Don't say that name here, Red. Do not say that name here. Hi, Marcel! You haven't missed anything yet. We're just kind of debating what we want to build. And honestly, Boss suggested Titania as like a... Because we've done 2 patrons that are kind of like dark, shadowy types in Vecna and Raven Queen. And honestly, I kind of like the idea of doing Titania. Yes, your D&D characters have pretty awful jobs, and then there's Nico. Yes, Nico was an interesting character, but let's just say the least. Doing Archfey Auntie F was definitely a recommendation. She's a rather powerful green hag. As a patron, though? I mean, I guess, maybe. I don't know. You just found one of your build guides last week for the first time, and I enjoyed them, and a friend and I will do a run with the 4 riders. Yeah, no, the 4 riders were an interesting build series. Honestly, though, I would update them slightly to try and include Death Cleric in a couple of them, because obviously that makes a lot of sense. So if you want to try and tweak the Horseman builds a bit, to include Death Cleric, probably at least in the Death one, obviously, I think that would work quite well. What did Nico do? Many shenanigans involving various types of drugs. Need I say more? Need a build for the Lady of Glass. Ah, well, that could be something to look in later. Oh, she's indirectly mentioned in the BG3, if I recall correctly, with the special Diva summon. Oh, okay, interesting. Let me actually have a look at that. I think I know what that one. That's called the it's something of the Sealy. And of course I just got a Discord message. Oh, how do I what's it called? What's it called? I know what it is. Scrolls. Peculiar Scrolls, is it in? Scroll of Bestial Communion, here it is. A single across these sites of the Sealy summon Diva. Sites of the Sealy summon Diva is a level 6 conjuring. Spell summons a Diva into the control of the caster. The spell is functionally similar to planar ally Diva and does not stack with it. Never knew that! That might be a build. Look at this fucking guy! Hold up. I've never looked at the token. Look at that face! Look at that smile! Look at this boy! Hang on. Can we get a closer look at that? Can we get a closer look at... Look! Look at that! Oh, hang on. Can I see a bit of it? Let me see a bit of it. Look at that face! This dude knows he's one of the most powerful summons in the game, and he's rocking that vibe. How have I never ever seen this before? Oh my god. That is amazing. Look at that smile. Look at the slight eyebrow cock. He knows what he's about. That is hilarious. Oh god, what have I done to my zoom? Let's fix that. Boop. There we go. Look at this absolute Chad. Fucking brilliant. Right, anyways. Maybe this would be an interesting thing to look at, actually, because if it's related to the Sealy, then maybe we could use the Diva as a basis for the mechanical aspects. We'll have a look. So, alternatively, her avatar would appear as... Oh, yeah, I meant to look at the, yeah, the sights of the Sealy. Yeah. Prince Charming from Shrek. Are we actually going to make a patron build that is this Archfey-empowered, charming character who is literally Prince Charming from Shrek? Are we actually doing this? It's mentioned in the book where you find the scroll. I see. Okay, so that would... Isn't it the scroll of Bestial Communion? Then, caution before the Sealy. Here we go. A text dealing with the Sealy court to the Fey realm, summer, winter, and the sarcastic octopus. This last may not be entirely accurate. This time recounts the experience of an unfortunate halfling forced to join the Sealy court during an ill-fated tour of the Beastlands. It is caked with dust and grime, yellowed feathers, and black fur fall from between the pages. I see. Okay. Interesting. But obviously we're going to need to get this somehow in the build, but I don't know how, because we can only use it once unless we scribe it. Maybe we just want planar ally somehow. Yeah, I know what it was about. I saw the notification pop up. This is so silly. I need a hero. Make Shrek. Oh my gosh. Oh, hello, Agassi. Good to have you here. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. One level of wizard, or can't it be learned? That's true. Yeah, you'd only need the one level of wizard to learn it, but that means we'd have to be a full spellcaster for the rest of the build, and I don't know if we can do that. Because it's a 6th level spell, which, for example, if we went all the way Archfey Warlock, or even took like one other level in Archfey Warlock or something, right, which we probably want to do, we can't get it. So, ugh. But anyway, I'm going to keep reading Titania and get some more ideas from there. So, a legend of immense beauty. Alternatively, her avatar would appear as a small but beautiful gossamer. Yeah, we read that already. Titania was hard to classify personality-wise. She seemed flighty and frivolous to some, but in truth, she was a brilliant strategist both in the court and on the battlefield. She had a dry sense of humor and could be very pragmatic when needed. It was almost impossible to make her angry, but if a truly despicable act roused her ire, the perpetrator would be faced with most powerful wrath. Immediately, I feel like that's a reason to get involved in BG3's narrative, because absolute. Oh god, I just read the chat and got stun locked. Thanks, Red. See you later tonight, I guess. Titania was amused by mortals and had been known to take some lovers. Ooh. Could we potentially use that as well? You got it. Thanks, Sakasi. Can't possibly take more than one level of Warlock then. Yeah, that is the problem. Could just ignore it too or make up a wizard sidekick for it. Maybe. Who knows? I do think I underestimate the power of having duo builds, actually. I don't do it nearly enough. Drink my coffee. Six levels of Warlock, 6 levels of Glamour Bard? Maybe, yeah. Hi, Buba, good to have you back. How's life? Better now. But yeah. Titania's very smile could cause crops to ripen, and her frown could trigger wildfires. Her gaze could cause mortals to go mad. Crown of Madness. Some sort of fire ability. Goodberry. Interesting. Titania's avatar shared a number of her innate magical powers in common with the other Sylvan gods. Her avatar was immune to paralysis. Okay, so ring of free action then. All illusions and mind-altering magics. Okay, so we want resistance to charming somehow. Probably a elfin ancestry then. Hi, Corey. We're looking at Titania as a potential build option, and I think I'm going to lean into it. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Her avatar was immune to paralysis, all illusions, and mind-altering magics, and symbols and power words could only be... Oh, and symbols and power words, and could only be harmed by enchanted weapons. She was able to immediately recognize pure water, all animals and plants, and poisons. She had great charming powers, obviously a part of the build, that's just archfey stuff, including the ability to place a Gias on any creature to never enter Sylvan lands. Titania could summon woodland creatures or swarms of critters to her aid with a simple wave of her hand, and she could entangle foes with any nearby vegetation. So this feels like Archfey Druid, but I've done that before, haven't I? Fairly certain I have. I've done Archfey Warlock Druid before, right? Definitely. I know I've done Archfey Warlock Nature Cleric. That was actually one of my more popular builds back in the day. Hold on. It's weird that I could Google myself. It's very, very weird. Hope Zone Archfey. Let's have a look. Yeah, literally. Oh no, that's not the one I was thinking of. Hang on. Hope Zone Archfey. Where is it? There's Silence in the Mist. That was a Shadow Monk. Don't you just love it that, you Google, like, someone, and then you just get videos from everyone else instead? Let's have a look at the old ones. Black Rider. Where is literally the build I was just talking about? I have to go to my actual channel, aren't I? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Am I not allowed to go to my own YouTube channel? And Druid Bard? Archfey Ranger? Let's see. Yeah. Wild Magic Warlock build. Seriously, where is the... Am I stupid? Am I stupid? I know I made one. I know it. There it is. The Feywild Channeler. Oh, no, that was Wild Magic Sorcerer and Nature Cleric. Wait, have I not done Archfey Druid? Hi, Trophy. Who are the lucky beings today? So far, we're looking at Titania. Have I not done Archfey Druid? Are you actually kidding me? I've never done Archfey Warlock Druid. In my 250 plus build videos, I never did one? What? How? There's no way. I refuse to believe that's true. Voice of the Wilds. That was Bard and Druid. Dark Druid. I've never done it, have I? Wow. I'm actually shocked. How have I never done it? Are we making Faye from Shrek today? Okay, scrap concept maybe, perhaps. Sorry, I'm only just looking at chat now because I'm genuinely shocked that that's something I haven't done. Okay, so this build has a reason to exist on that front, at least. Okay, so Archfey Warlock Druid. That is very temperamental. Is Alucard that was Alucard, mate? Did I make an Alucard? Was that the what? Oh, maybe. No, that was Fiend, not Archfey. Close, but no cigar. Huh. That's actually insane to me. Fucking look at that bullshit. Okay. Hi, Steve. Right, I guess... Alright, I'm gonna start the document. Give me a second. Patron build document. Here we go. Titania. Right, because I feel like this makes sense to do. Titania. Which is going to be Archfey. This is like when I found out that, like, at 200 build videos that I never used Conjuration Wizard once. or was it Illusion Wizard? No, it was Conjuration Wizard. Archfey Druid. Okay. Helsing Alucard doesn't fit Druid. No. So, we want... Right, here we go. So, Titania is very small, cause crops to ripen. Okay, so definitely... let's make the checklist. Let's make the checklist. So, we want... plant-based powers, not hard to get. We maybe want some fire magic in there as well, for the wildfire aspect. And Crown of Madness, for sure, for the making people go mad thing. I used to think that, Poop Pal, I used to think that. But since I have learned, it has weird niche uses, and I do need to explore it more, for sure. Let's see, what else does she have here? Her avatar was immune to paralysis, so... so I would just put that as, like, freedom of movement, basically. So, maybe from the Ring of Free Movement, probably. Yeah, an Archfey level 5 gives plant growth, so that already makes sense, yeah. Pretty dead on the money with that one. Archfey alone covers a lot of this. All animals are plants, share charming powers. The Geas thing is interesting. Creating for difficult terrain, for sure. That's the thing. It's going to be interesting to try and make a build that's not just Archfey, because Archfey kind of does all this. But then there's summoning the woodland creatures. So, find familiar. Oh, this could be Pact of the Chain, finally. With the Dryad summon as well. So, like, nature summons. That could be interesting. Titania always carried a diamond-tipped wand. And her avatar fought with a magic dagger. Okay. Compared to her innate powers, the dagger was mostly decorative, but the wand was a staff of power that glowed with a gem of brilliance surrounding her with a magic circle against evil, so protection of evil and good. The wand could also create food and water, and a feast fit for heroes. Heroes Feast. We're not going to get Heroes Feast on this build, unfortunately. I just don't think that's possible. But we can definitely get Good Berry and Create a Destroy Water, for sure. You've been using Bladesinger quite a bit, resting AC at 28. Yeah, no, Bladesinger AC is insane if you build it right. Absolutely crazy. Bladesinger's very, very cool. Just wish I had access to Cool Lightning and had a natural reason to concentrate on a concentration spell. Yeah, that's true. Right, so we can have a magic dagger. This is going to be similar to the Vecna build, but we'll have a magic dagger in the offhand that gives us some buff. Just for buff. Maybe Rhapsody? Don't know, we'll have to see. And then some sort of magic quarterstaff. So this is definitely going to be more of a spellcaster for sure. Which I'm into, and I like the idea of it being Pact of the Chain. Because I don't use that nearly enough. And kind of getting, like, assistance from familiars and such like that. I kind of like that idea. Circle of the Land probably would get us the most spell casting. Again, we'll have a look at that in a bit. But I just want to finish reading up on Titania. Let's see. Oh, it's one of them. Yes, we purify fear and drink. She's got charming powers, so that's easy enough to get. Charmed person is just kind of built in. And entanglement, so entangle as well. Okay, so basically just restricting movement, giving ourselves freedom of movement, charming and madness powers, potentially trying to throw some fire magic in there, which Warlock can do. Plant-based powers, yeah. So all of this is pretty self-explanatory. Hi, Zim. We're looking at Titania, and we're building around that. Titania watched over all faith beings, being the Dryad, so makes sense for the Dryad summon, Pixies, Satyrs, Treants, Unicorns. Honestly, I'm surprised BG3 didn't have a unicorn in some capacity. Like, that feels like a shoo-in for this kind of game, right? Don't know, weird thing. Honestly, you'd go for Stars Druid, the most fun one. Yes, I agree, but is it the most appropriate? What's the difference between Nature Clerics and Druid? Okay, so Nature Cleric is about being a cleric with some nature powers. Druid is about being fully into the nature powers with the ability to use things like wild shape and such like that to be a bit closer to nature. It has. So if cleric is more about basically just doing the normal cleric things, so your spirit guardians, your healing, your buffing spells. Druid can kind of do some similar things, but in a different way, but also has access to their unique wild shape mechanic, if that makes sense. Is the stream lagging for anyone else? I've got 0 dropped frames, so I'm afraid it must be you, Chloe. I apologize. Because I'm not seeing anything wrong on my side of things. Stream appears to be okay. It says the stream health is fine, so unfortunately it might just be your internet, and I do apologize. Yeah, I'm not seeing any dropped frames on my end, not from OBS or YouTube, so I apologize if there is an issue, but I'm afraid I can't do anything about it on my end. It's nothing beyond the usual stuff that YouTube tells me about, which has worked fine in the past, so I do apologize if there's an issue with the stream, but there's nothing I can seem to do about it on my end. You know how your internet is, though? Oh, yeah. Last D&D was... Yeah, just try refreshing the stream if you can. When the Sealy court met, Titania's avatar was always present and was always accompanied by at least one other member of the inner circle of the court. Ooh. Maybe this is a duo build. It's a lot more work on my part, but over this next week specifically, I could get that done. I've got next week off, which is why I'm planning on streaming next week. Okay. Maybe if now we're looking at this from the angle of a duo build, what if we have the Warlock Druid avatar and maybe the Court Wizard beside? Maybe this is a build that romances Gale and has Gale as, like, the Court Wizard of... Oh, okay. Integrating it would be the first time I've ever made a build that deliberately integrates another character that's already established in the lore into the build and actually focuses on the potential romance option, because I usually don't do that. Maybe I actually really like that idea. A Midsummer Night's Dream build, I guess. Gale would never cheat on Magic Mama. Have you played the game? No, I'm not doing a romance build series. My aromantic ass would not have a fucking clue what to do. Absolutely not. But this one time, I think I can make it work. Okay, a duo build with Gale. Let's go. I like this. I like this. It adds a totally new dynamic for the build and gives us access to that Diva summon that we wanted. Okay, I like this so far. Relationships. Maybe this will help with that idea as well. Titania had a famous love affair with Oberon, the Green Lord. I hope I said that rightly. Who is this? He's somebody. I don't have a picture of him, though. Oh, he's King Oberon. Oh, I do know this guy. I've heard of him before. Yeah. We'll come back to that maybe in a bit. And it was he who built her palace, but some even called the couple husband and wife, while admitting that they both took other lovers freely. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a normal thing in modern day stuff. At other times, they were also great enemies. And at other times, they were both lover and foe at the same time. What kind of fucking romance sitcom bullshit's this? Oh, Mine, I do know Strahd lore. For reasons I don't want to get into right now, but I do know it, but I can't say anything. I can't say anything yet. It's nothing to do with the channel, I just know that certain people might be listening. Anyways, moving on. How is this pronounced? Damn? Is that pronounced like damn? Like, how's that pronounced? Dama? Damn? How is this pronounced? I'm not gonna lean on it too long, because that's gonna take forever. The god of satyrs and Koreds was seen as Titania and Oberon's son. Venestra, the goddess of dryads, was considered Titania's daughter, and the Prince of Frost was also the son of Titania. The so-called inner circle of sylvan gods respected Titania as their queen and deferred to her in matters of judgment. Sekrit, god of centaurs, and other outer circle gods did not follow Titania's rule, but she had great love for them and their worshippers nonetheless. The Celadrin were on good terms with Queen Titania and were willing to aid her whenever she requested it. Nice. And the Queen of Air and Darkness was rumoured to be the dark sister of Titania. Whatever the truth, Titania refused to wage open war against the evil queen and instead grieved for her. Notable Eladrin, infused with the power of summer, served as her barons, and Titania's niece, Lady Chandria, governed Astrazalion, the city of Starlight in the Feywild. That sounds like something I want to look into for my campaign that I'm writing. That sounds cool as fuck. If anybody has any good links for stuff about this, the City of Starlight, I would like to use it in my campaign that I'm writing. Thank you very much. Daniel, here's me reading this, like, super in-depth, like, lore wiki page. I'll just look over at the chat. Damn, Daniel! Oh, gosh. Sorry, I kind of missed some stuff in chat because I got into the reading. Yeah, the Strahd build. Yeah. I didn't miss too much. I mean, that is an excuse for Stars Druid, I guess, but I feel like that's a stretch. Because that's not Titania herself, that is her niece that doesn't even have a wiki page here. I mean, that's a stretch. Especially considering tonight's build is going to be part Star Druid, so, you know, I don't want to overdo it. Titania was worshipped by a plethora of non-evil fae beings. Brownies, bookers, pixies, and sprites considered her their patron deity. Titania, like the other sylvan gods, did not grant spells to her followers, nor did she have priests or clerics. Interesting. So really, that would actually be a reason to not use Nature Cleric at all. It would actually technically go against the law for there to be a Nature Cleric in Titania. That's interesting. For all fey creatures had magical powers of their own. Titania's followers taught that she was a goddess of goodness and mercy. They saw her as a mother figure, and her holy symbol was a white diamond with a blue star. And periodically, Titania hosted a parliament of all the separate fey courts, Seelie and Unseelie, at Senelise, which was sometimes called the Court of Stars. The music's ramping up again! Oh. This is not that epic, seriously. Okay, Autumn Wrench, thank you. Let's go to that. Thank you. There we go. A bit more chill. The music seems to want to make this way more intense than it needs to be. Epic revelations. This whole stream, like, with the music, is just that meme of the guy from Ratatouille looking over the paper and, like, having the realization as he's reading. And there we go. Titania was the patron to many warlocks in the realms. Boom. That's it. So, yeah. Archfey Warlock Druid, which I've somehow never done in 250 plus builds. Seriously, how did I miss that combination? You know when, like, something is so obvious It just seems like such like a natural thing to do. You just think you've already done it, but you've actually never ever done it. Like, that's the revelation I just had. Like, how have I never done Archfey Druid? Ever. That's actually insane to me. I was definitely thinking about the Fey Warlock Sorcerer. Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Like, the closest I've come is Fiend Warlock Spores Druid. I mean, it's good that you didn't, because now you don't have to do the mental gymnastics. Yeah, exactly, right? Okay, so I think we've got a pretty decent checklist here. Like, obviously the mechanical side of this build is not going to be that difficult to figure out. Other than the fact that we are going to want 2 builds. One for Gale, and one for our main character. So, let's look at what our main character is going to be. Obviously, Warlock Druid. Simple as. So, for Warlock, definitely going to play the Archfey Warlock. No question about that. Druid, though, is where it gets interesting. Please, for a moment, consider Ancient's Paladin somewhere in the mix. I don't think we're gonna have the levels. I mean, we can, but I don't really know what Paladin... I don't want this to be I want this to be more of a spellcastery build than a martial spellblade one, because I do way too many spellblades, because they are my personal favorite character archetype. Oh, for the Ancients, let's see. Healing, yeah, because I feel like in order to get the stuff that we actually want from this, we got to invest pretty heavily in the levels. This isn't like a 1 or 2 level dip, really. Like, I think we're at least going to level 5 for extra attack and such like that, which I don't really want to do. How about Spores Druid for a Fairy Circle? Maybe. Wildfire would obviously work, that is true. The companion is the caster already, to be fair. Yeah, but... I don't know, I like the idea of this character being more of a... hang back and kind of let the party members do the heavy lifting type deal. I kind of like that more. Like, I can see this being our character and Gale in the back doing all the spellcastery things, and us being like the social manipulator face of the party, where you've got, and then you've got maybe like Karlach and Lae'zel or something in the front, or just 2 other martial characters. You know what I mean, right? Like, I do way too many spell swords, and like, while this is a cool idea, I just don't see Paladin fitting the flavor that I'm going for here. Personally. And I feel like there's a more interesting avenue to explore with Druid Archfey, personally. That is just me. So people are locking on to, like, Circle of the Stars pretty hard, but I do think that is a bit of, like, new toy, let's play with it. Like I say, I've done quite a few Star Druids already. I did the Lae'zel and Shadowheart builds, as well as the build that's going up tonight. And... I don't know. I just don't see it. I agree, Sylph, and I appreciate your understanding on that front. Definitely wanting to do, like, Star Druid Ancients Paladin some point in the future, because that would be sick as hell. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Star Druid is one of the ones I want to explore the most, just because I love the theming, but I don't know. Hi, Isra! We are building a Titania build today. Right, maybe I should keep the Titania wiki page open. Right, there we go. There she is. Somebody said Circle of the Spores might be an interesting thing for a fairy circle, but... And I could definitely see that, but I feel like it leans too much into the undead aspect, which... Not sure how I feel about that in any particular way. Also, again, it's encouraging, like, melee combat with, like, Halo and Spores and such. Which I'm not too into with this build, like I said. It's between land and stars, I think. I agree. Let's see. Circle of the Land. Because Circle of the Moon really doesn't do anything for us. We're not a wild shape build. So let's have a look at what Circle of the Land gives us. Extra cantrip, always nice to have. And then we get the, you know, the lands, right? Let's see. Arctic would give us Whole Person and Spike Growth, Mirror Image, Misty Step. That immediately feels like it fits the build. Because I think the ones with the asterisks are the ones that you can't normally get. Yeah, not on the Druid spell list. So Coast immediately giving us access to Mirror Image and Misty Step feels very much on theme for what we're going for here. Crowd of Madness will have to come from Warlock. Oh yeah, but that's not hard to do at all. So obviously we get Fairy... Misty Escape definitely feels right here. The question is, how high do we want to go in Warlock? That is, as usual, the question. I feel like Misty Escape is pretty good, as well as... maybe it'll be a 7-5 split, depending on how bad we want the 6th level feature. Difficult terrain no longer slows you down. You have advantage on saving throws against plants that are magically created to impede your movement. And you've become an expert at moving through the wilderness. Plant-based surfaces with fallen spines and similar hazards no longer harm you. That actually... that makes sense. I feel like it's a 6-6 then. Mostly. I also like the idea that Circle of the Land gives us these natural recovery charges. So not only do we have short rest spell slots from Warlock, we also have the natural recovery charges as well for our Druid stuff. Like, we're very, very resource efficient here. Druid 7 for that is true. Druid 7 for Conjure Woodland Beings. Don't get me wrong, Misty Escape is nice, and I like it thematically. But I don't think we need it on this build, where we're going to have Misty Step anyway. Because I'm going to be honest with you all now, I'm leaning so hard into Land Druid here, more than Stars. Because again, Stars is cool. I don't think it gives us what we want on this build, though, right? Like, Starry Form is cool, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the theme that we're going for. Whereas Circle of the Land can give us Mirror Image and Misty Step, 2 spells that we would love to have on this build. Yes, Warlock can give us that, but because our Warlock spell selection is so limited, getting as much as we can from the Circle of the Land Druid, freeing up our Warlock choices, is going to feel much better in the long run. As well as, again, we get those natural recovery charges, we get the Land Stride abilities, which just feel perfect for this build, and then at level 7, like we said, we can get the Conjure Woodland Being spell, which I think is a necessity for this build. So I think 5 Warlock, 7 Druid. I definitely think that's right. I think that makes the most sense. The leveling scheme is going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, though, because obviously we want stuff from both sides. But honestly, I don't think achieving Warlock 5 early on is 100% necessary. Like, don't get me wrong, we're going to get stuff that we want here, but we're also going to get stuff from Druid that we want. But then being able to later have access to things like Counterspell, for example, and Hypnotic Pattern would be really good, in addition to Blink and Plant Growth coming from here, meaning that we can replace those on the Druid spell list and have the access to them from there. And then obviously we get our Pact stuff as well. Pact of the Tome would give us Cool Lightning, which I think somebody spoke about earlier. This build is going to be a bit mad, but obviously we have ways of patching that up if we need to. Haste could be good, but I do like the idea of Pact of the Chain here for Find Familiar, just to have that nature connection. Because I still think it's stupid the Druids don't get Find Familiar. Like, I don't know why they don't. So I would definitely want Find Familiar here to give us access to, like, nature's helpers. I think that works, and, like, leaning into that with Pact of the Chain feels quite fun. Circle of the Land and Warlock makes it such a resource-efficient build that it's a reason for on its own for the build to exist. Exactly. To be honest, only Warlock 3 is needed. Yes, we do get Frog. Most important part of the build. Yeah, I guess you're right. That does make sense. Because if you look here, right, we would be able to get things like we can get Mirror Image and Misty Step from here, but we can grab those later and then train those out. We can grab things like Crown of Madness, like we said, Enthrall, Visibility, these are all quite good. We'd get Calm Emotions and Phantasmal Force. Probably not going to use those too much, but they're definitely on theme. Level 5, though, we do get, like I say, if we go back to the chain, our familiar can use extra attack, which is kind of fun. We get Mire the Mind for slow, which is an amazing concentration spell for us to use. We would also get the 3rd level spell slots from Warlock, which would actually be really nice on this build to have. But I would say we can grab those later on. I would say maybe 3 Warlock, go to Druid, come back to Warlock later. Githyanki works for having Misty Step for 3, but yeah, but I cannot see a world where Githyanki Titania happens. Just no, not really, in my personal opinion. Wood Elf obviously does make the most sense, but it is like the tried and true combination, so it's a bit boring, but it does work. More movement speed, the Fey Ancestry, which we do need for the resistance to being charmed. Honestly, Wood Elf is kind of the shoe-in. Hi, David. Good to have you here. Yeah, I'm thinking a 5-7 split. And then it's the Circle of the Land spell domains. Obviously, Coast being the first one makes the most sense to get Mirror Image and Misty Step, freeing up our Warlock choices. For level 5... There's Hypnotic Pattern, which we could get from Desert, which could be quite good. Gaseous Form and Stinking Cloud from the Underdark could also be kind of fun. And not a gift of frog. Yeah, 2024 D&D is interesting. I'm actually using it in my campaign that I'm making now. And there's parts of the rules that I like and parts that I don't, and I'm kind of mixing and matching and rewriting some stuff as I see fit. I think the biggest disadvantage that 2024 has compared to 2014 is the lack of multi-classing incentive. Because people who were playing 2014 for a long time, they knew how to play the game, and multi-classing became more, appropriate because, they knew how to play the game, they knew what combos to go for, etc., etc. Whereas 2024, with the fact that all of your subclasses are obtained at level 3 now for all classes, multi-classing is slightly less incentivized. Don't get me wrong, the 1-level dips and 2-level dips still exists. Like Fighter with Action Surge, although that doesn't work with magic anymore. Pact of the Blade is now a level 1 thing, so you don't even need Hexblade Warlock anymore. And then, yeah, there's, I don't know, but the rest of them kind of have a bit of difficulty with it. There's some room for stuff, but not as much as before. That's the main thing. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Level 5. So, level 5 spells... I kind of like the Underdark one, in a way. The Stinking Cloud removes actions, which could be interesting. What else do we have? Protection from energy from Desert, as well as Hypnotic Pattern. That can also be good. 2024 just feels like a new edition for the sake of a new edition. Right, I'll explain why 2024 was made. At least, this is my personal theory, okay? 2024 was specifically made because of the rise in popularity that happened with D&D because of COVID. Which is a weird thing to say, but think about it like this, right? The last proper D&D edition came out in 2014. A lot of time for the game to grow and adapt has happened. And because of the popularity of shows like Critical Role and such like that, and the fact that we were all stuck inside for so long, which made more people pick up the game, and now as such with podcasts and videos and even a bloody movie making the IP more popular than it's ever been, like there's going to be a massive influx of new players, and they're going to take a look at every single thing that's come out for 2014 D&D in the past over 10 years and think, holy shit, this is really overwhelming, I don't know what to do. 2024 was a simplified, updated version of 2014 that was designed with new players in mind, making things a bit simpler by restricting how many things you have to look at, adding some new homebrew rules that have basically existed for 2014 anyway, just to kind of make those things that everyone already thought was a thing actually a thing, so that there's less complexity there. And yeah, I think 2024 was more designed around the massive influx of new players that are coming into the game, and those who are experienced in the system can either choose to use some parts of it or not, know how to make things backwards compatible, because again, that was the design of it. They made it so things were backwards compatible. And so I think it is literally just here to exist to bring in the new demographic of players that are coming in. That's my theory. Did people like 2014 when it came out, like going from 4th edition? 4th edition was a weird one because I'm not very experienced in 4th edition, but from my understanding it was way more number crunchy and a bit more war gamey, whereas 5th edition brought it back to more of a balance of roleplay, which I think a lot of people appreciated more. It definitely had more widespread appeal than 4th edition, which is why 4th edition didn't do so well. Comparatively, it was definitely like considered the black sheep of the D&D editions, from my understanding. But anyways, that is so far off topic. I go on these tangents, I swear. Has a fun design philosophy, but the execution is kind of eh. Exactly. There's method behind the madness, I see it, but I do also think it's a product of Wizards of the Coast's more business-focused model now. They're just capitalizing on a surge of popularity, and if the new UA that they keep bringing out has anything to say about it, there's a lack of balancing and overall consideration going on into it. Like, you guys saw those Halloween subclasses that just got revealed, right? What the hell? I have never seen official subclasses look so busted in my life. Like, I don't know. I feel like as much thought and care that has gone into it, like, there is stuff there. There's people at Wizards of the Coast who are the proper design team, and they know what they're doing, and they have a vision, but I do feel like that vision was executed poorly in some areas, and there's clearly people at the top who are pushing things out without proper testing, which led to things like the Conjure Minor Elementals incident, which I'm sure most of you know about by now, where that spell was the most busted thing I've ever seen. Stuff like that, right? Yeah. If you guys aren't sure, take a look at the new Halloween subclass UA. They brought back Hexblade, and there's some new subclasses here and there. The Ranger one in particular is extremely busted. Like, but, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Anyways, back on track. I definitely think I'll look more into the actual specific levels of the different classes. Not the different classes, the different spell lists here, because there's a lot of options to pick from that I think would work. I'm leaning towards Desert or Underdark, I think, for level 5. And then at level 7, we would get another one, which could give us access to freedom of movement without needing to think of that too much. Greater Invisibility really feels like it fits on this build, and I actually do kind of want it, so Underdark might work as well there. So I think we got some options here. So I'm gonna lock in the split here. Archfey, Warlock, 5, Land, Druid, 7. Cool. And now, we need to think about how Gale, our companion court wizard, Sealy court wizard, is going to fit into this. What are we thinking? Yeah, I know, Poop, I know. I was just kind of looking into what could be good, but... Let's see. Bard Wizard? Maybe? I don't know. I'm honestly looking like... Enchantment Wizard makes sense? I don't use it very often, because this is not going to be like the primary focus of the video. Like, I'll do the detailed build guide for the first build, and then be like, oh, we're also going to pair it with this build for Gale, and I'll go over it in a slightly less detailed way. But for this one, you know, you have... Hypnotic Gaze. Illusion would also work well, because that's literally Gale's, like, favorite... Like, he even says this is, like, his favorite school of magic. So I could see Illusion also working. But Enchantment can be very fun. Obviously, we get the Hypnotic Gaze, which allows us to, you know, once per long rest, we can basically charm an enemy, which makes sense. Instinctive Charm, being able to charm enemies as a reaction. And then Split Enchantment, allowing us to target 2 creatures with enchantment spells. This is very potent at high levels with things like Hold Monster, for example. There's Illusion Wizard, which would give us the Improved Minor Illusion. Yay. See Invisibility, also kind of there. But the Illusionary itself at level 10 is kind of nice. And obviously this does fit Gale the most. But we'll have to see. Let me just make sure everything is still working as intended. 1 second. Yeah, okay, cool. I have to double check the stream every so often, because otherwise it's... Bleh. Let's see. Back to my many open windows. Improved minor illusion, best subclass feature. Oh gosh. I almost wanted to make a build one time for April Fools that was just like cat overload, so you had like minor illusion, the cat find familiar spell, or like displace a beast wild shape and such, but I never really got around to it. Yeah, so for wizards, there may be room for a dip or two here. Enchantment plus glamour does sound fabulous. Yeah, again, but it's another like mad build, and I don't think I want two mad builds in the same video. In the same kind of duo, you know what I mean? Recastable Command is the closest thing BG3 has to Gaius. Yeah, exactly. So maybe Command is definitely going to be an important spell on the main build, for sure. And obviously, we do want to get level 6 spell slots on this so we can use the Sights of the Sealy Diva. That's like the whole point of having a Wizard Companion. We can get some interesting stuff, though, like Flesh to Stone, which feels like it's on point. Obviously, the Dominate and Hold spells, very, very on theme. Greater invisibility that we can cast from the wizard onto our build so that we don't have to maintain concentration on the first one. Can't hear enchantment without thinking of Sandalf and Dragon Age. Human fighter champion subclass called Steve? What are you on about? Literally, like, just for an April Fool's video, just make the most vanilla human fighter character possible. I mean, I guess. Literally just a guy. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we got all the usual wizard shenanigans here. Yeah, I think enchantment does make the most sense overall. Level 2 knowledge domain? Maybe? Give me a sec. Okay, but how, like, crazy is it that to be like, again, if these characters are going to be romanced, you still will have the subclass from your ex? Knowledge. You would gain... That actually does work, because you'd get the command spell, which obviously would use our wisdom, but we can have a decent wisdom. But the blessings of knowledge gaining expertise in 2 skills and knowledge of the ages to make you like the knowledgeable court wizard actually does work. A 2-10 split could be pretty fun there. Just to have that little bit of extra kind of flavor and such. I do like that, actually. That's a cool idea. 2 knowledge cleric, 10 enchantment wizard. I do like that. That is true, though. Titania does not take clerics, but this isn't our guy. This is Gale. And Gale has his own story that we can weave into this one, but he does have a different origin where he was Mistress Chosen and blah 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 until he fucked it all up, as he tends to do. What's the flavor that we're looking for Gale? Not really a strong flavor theming, just that he is the court wizard companion to our member of the Sealy Court Warlock Avatar of Titania type thing, right? Like, you know, we have this powerful, you know, fair matron character who is this, like, high-ranking member of the Feywild Society, you know, chosen by Titania and all this. And then we got our human wizard Gale in the back who's, like, her knowledgeable court wizard who, you know, helps out in combat in like knowing things as well. You know, it is literally like, you know, like the high-ranking noble royalty type person with their court wizard. Like, that's like the vibe, right? As long as we don't have to fight Gale's evil ex. Surprisingly, there's 7 of them. Hi, Omega. Not quite doing Mistra, no. We're actually doing Titania and we're having Gale be a companion to that. I literally just like picture Gale in the back just like waving like, hello. Yeah, they don't have any connection to Mistra, but again, it's just, this is Gale. We're not thinking specifically on the lines of, this is another custom character, this is Gale, that we're using him as a companion to this build, and their stories kind of intertwine, and it's like got a unique synergy and such like that. Yeah, I picked the wrong music video. They like, oh yeah, this is a calm and relaxing mix. Let's throw in the final boss theme in the middle to give you a bloody jump scare. Well, don't get me wrong, most of these are okay, but we did have, like, the main Zelda theme at one point, and it, like, jump scared us. Hi, Phantom. We're building Titania / Gale. Just Gale. God, Elden Ring. Well, I'm gonna be playing some more of that tonight. That's gonna be fun. Let's see. Yeah, I'm happy with a 2-10 split on that, and I feel like that feels pretty cool, so I'm gonna lock that in. What are we on for time? Because I actually don't have a lot of time to stream today. I actually have to cut off stream at 3 PM. I totally forgot. This was meant to be a shorter stream today. Yeah, 1 more hour, yeah. But I think we've got everything we need for this particular build. The only other things that I will do... let me worry about the Gale build, because obviously we're going to get sights at the Sealy Diva from that as well, which is going to be important, but... What... I can't... Is there any specific equipment that we can immediately think of that we know we want for the main build? Just very quickly, and then we can kind of move on to the next one. Because I'm just trying to think off the bat. I'm almost thinking, like, for the armor... Hi, Mayan. We're building a Titania Patron build. The Land Druid armor, that was what I immediately thought of. Land growth, healing, +1 bonus to spell safety, C advantage on con saves. Honestly, this has become my favorite spellcasting armor. You saw it in the Eyeless Stride, the new build. And I think it is just the best. Land Druid armor and the freedom of movement shoes. Feywild Sparks is probably a must, but that only works for wild magic stuff that we don't have. I mean, I guess it does give a +1 bonus to... Well, can we go a bit faster, please? Thank you. It does give us a +1 bonus to spell safety C, which isn't actually marked on the ring, but it is a thing. But it only really works with wild magic. You might be thinking of, if I go here... the amulet, which is this one here. Here it is, the Face Semblance amulet, which absolutely we should have on this build, 100%. Why not just use your Gale Wild Magic? Because that's not really the vibe that I'm going for here. And I don't really need to use that build again, right? If people want to use that build, that whole video's there, even if it is a bit outdated, I'd say, by my standards now. Yeah, I definitely feel like for typical, like, anything that says Fae in it can obviously make sense. But I think for the most part, the equipment will be fairly standard and I can kind of figure that out on my own time. It'll be pretty easy to do, methinks. I like the idea of using the land armor, though. I do think that makes the most sense, for sure. I don't think we can really use any of this other stuff because we don't get the armor proficiency. Oh god, this music's hitting me with nostalgia. Spirit Tracks is one of my first full Zelda games that I played. This is hitting me with a lot of nostalgia right now. We do need a dagger of some kind, that is true. Cause she had the magical quarterstaff and the dagger. So we can look at that very quick. Magical quarterstaff and a dagger. I mean, the quarterstaff is probably easy to figure out. I don't think that's going to be crazy. Nature's Snare makes a lot of sense here, because it has the entanglement feature. Staff of Arcane Blessing for Gale, for sure. What else do we have here? Pale Oak could also work for Faith Warden's Vines. Again, more entanglement features. What about the Susa Dagger? Maybe, but the Susa Dagger requires us to actively be attacking with it, which I really don't think we're going to do. To be honest, we really want something that's going to give us a passive buff I immediately jumped to Rhapsody because it just does the most for spell casting, giving us a +1 bonus to attack rolls, damage, and spell save DC for every foe that we slay. And if we're hiding or invisible, we can inflict bleeding when hitting a creature, but obviously, again, we're not really attacking with this one so much. And we can use Scarlet Remitters to, like, give us a bunch of buffs as well, but I don't know if that's too far away from the theme. The Gleam Dance Dagger also feels pretty good here. It glows with light, so it feels very regal, and it gives us a +1 bonus to our armor class, just for wielding it in the offhand. I don't know. Again, I would be happy to just, like, say, leave this with me, and I can figure the rest out later. But I do think a lot of it will be fairly self-explanatory, I would say. I think I've got enough of a basis to work off of. I think we've got a cool concept to work with. And the fact that it's going to be a duo build means I'm going to have to sit down and give it a bit more consideration anyway. So I'm happy to leave that as it is. And we can spend this last kind of hour getting the basis down for the next build, which we now have to figure out what that's going to be. Sound good? So, who's next? We've just done an Archfey patron. So I'm wondering if maybe we can go a completely different direction. The question is, what direction should that be? Demogorgon. I remember people suggesting that last time. And we briefly looked at it. Cthulhu? I've done a few Cthulhu-themed builds, though, Isra. I've done quite a few. Maybe a more dedicated one would make sense. You said you're the one who suggested it last stream? Yeah, I guess that might make sense. Zariel would fit in BG3, obviously, but I feel like that's like an evil Karlach build waiting to be made. True, yeah, Zariel and Demogorgon, yeah. I was just like, I just blinked for a second and then I saw this. But of course, for Kuatoa, it now makes sense. Haven't you made kind of a Zariel one before? Dude, if I have... Yeah. Why? Shut up, AI. I can't remember if I did. Not like a patron but themed? Maybe? I don't remember. Like, again, I have done... Like, I've done 250 plus build videos. Some of them having multiple builds inside. I have no idea if I've done stuff half the time anymore. Gnome Mechanus. God, if we had Clockwork Soul Sorcerer, I would totally jump on that. Clockwork Soul is one of my favourite subclasses, and it's just not ever going to be in this game. Ah, that sucks. Right, but... I don't know, Demogorgon seemed like a really interesting idea right off the bat. Because again, so we've done Vecna, the Raven Queen, and Titania. So we've got two kind of shadowy... So we've got like a Shadowfell one, an Undead one, and an Archfey one. So maybe this more like fiendish one makes sense. Demogorgon, pronounced as such, is referred to as the imprisoned one by some of the followers of Helm. Was the demon lord and lesser deity of domination and the draining of energy, an embodiment of madness and destruction, was sought to drag down all into the infinite depths of the abyss. Ah, so this is a demon, not a fiend. Not a devil, this is a demon, because I actually know the difference now. Elderbrain Patron could be a Goo Warlock? Maybe. That might be something... well, considering I saved, like, for Chosen of the Absolute, my deity build series towards the end, maybe that could be, like, the finale of Season 1, like, the Elderbrain Patron. That could actually be kind of cool. Vecna and Demogorgon sound like some villains from a Netflix show. Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. They should really, like, use more, like, D&D terms in, like, popular media. I think it would go really far. Might be a bit strange, though, for some people. Oh, well. Stranger things have happened. So, what's the Demon Lord and Demon Dev? The domination and draining of energy, the embodiment of madness and destruction. I'm already liking the idea of a barbarian build based on this dude. He was known by many names, called Slow Savash by the 1T, Lemogugun by the Deep Father by the Kuatoa, and Alman Ebor the Sabilant Beast by the Troglodytes. Why is there a section of D&D lore called the Troglodytes? Referred to as stink meat. Oh my god, these dudes just exist to be donked on. What the hell? That is hilarious. Kuatua buff for a bleeding build? Maybe. Maybe. Let's have a look. The first Tenari formed from the mortal's ancient fears, even his chosen race, not even going to attempt that one, dared not speak his name aloud. It alone could inspire a primal terror. Inspiring fear in even other demon lords, his self-proclaimed title of the Prince of Demons was won by virtue of power and influence. Many demons challenged it, but none could defeat Demogorgon and claim it. You know me then by my best name, Mortal. You face Demogorgon, Prince of the Demons. This dude's metal as fuck. He's a monkey, though. Why is he a monkey? They certainly changed that with 5th edition. Oh no, he's still kind of monkey-esque. Yeah, he's like a two-headed monkey. That makes me think Wild Hearts Barbarian? Like something with a little bit of a beast vibe to it, but we go for like Warlock levels to add something else. We go for a Barblock, maybe? They look like the riots from Devil May Cry. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. This might be a Great Old One, but yeah, I definitely think Great Old One Barbarian could absolutely work here for sure. Going for, like, Fear, like maybe Frenzy Barbarian maybe instead? Who knows? Chimpanzee, finally. Demogorgon towered a full 18 feet in height. His body... at once sinuous like that of a snake and powerful like that of a great ape. Two baleful baboon heads with blue and red faces similar to those of mandrills leered from atop his lumbering shoulders, to which two long tentacles writhed. Oh yeah, this is Great Old One written all over it. His lower torso was Sauron, like a great reptile with blue-green and scaly skin, and he had an immense forked tail. It's not a Harambe build, shut the fuck up! God damn it. Wasn't that like, isn't that like nearly a 10-year-old meme at this point as well? Because wasn't that 2016? Are we like nearly 10 years in from that? Sorry if I came off a bit strong there, but just... No, we're not doing Harambe Prince of Demons. No. It's not happening. It's not happening. Hi, Jason. Did you do Xanathar as a patron? No, but I'm adding that to the list. I'm gonna take your... I'm gonna put that on the list for next time for sure. Absolutely. I don't know how I didn't think of Xanathar. That's such a like an obvious one. That would be a cool one to do for next time. It was the beginning of the end. What's his Xanathar? I don't know. He's written a couple of guides before. Pretty cool dude. Anyways, back to Demogorgon, because I'm really leaning into this idea now. Each of the Demogorgon's heads has its own name and personality, a duality that created an enduring internal conflict of his personality, while shaping all of his actions and even his realm. His left head was named Amwell, I hope I pronounced that correctly, while the right was named Hethradia, sometimes referred to as Hathradia. The two heads warred with each other, constantly seeking to obtain the upper hand on the other. Amwell, the more charismatic and calculating, relished deception and wished to break free from his other half. The more impulsive and feral Hethradia. Oh god, these names. Relish destruction and did not want to be separated. Bro, like, literally, manipulating Psychic Great Old One Warlock for the Abyss, plus Barbarian for the Feral Rage. You've got two sides. It's literally perfect. Maybe when he rages, he switches personalities? Exactly. Yeah, we're absolutely doing Demogorgon. I'm seeing this as being such a cool thing. Demogorgon, I'm definitely thinking Goo and Barb for sure. And the checklist, I'm going to write the checklist. We want deception and social manipulation for sure. If I can actually type, that'd be great. And then range, kind of like a split personality. And I like the way that maybe that could work into like the BG3 story, because you know you've got the Dream Visitor and the Tadpole like in your head. We could maybe flavor using some of the Tadpole's illithid powers as like tapping into that like alternate personality in a way with things like Psychic Overload and all that sort of thing, and that also leans into the Goo stuff as well. I think the illithid powers are kind of like a requirement here for sure. I think it works lore-wise and mechanically for sure. The only question... Well, okay, so think about it this way, right? You start off the battle, like, again, you're this social manipulator, right, with, like, the one personality, where, like, you are this, you know, clever and calculating creature which can, you know, manipulate people with the goo powers and the illithid powers, etc., etc., etc. But then you start taking damage in a battle, you start getting pissed off, you go feral. Like, again, it's about being a spellcaster in the front and a feral, you know, like, barbaric maniac in the back. Like, you have two sides. You got two wolves inside you, right? You get it? You get what I'm talking about? It's all about monkey. Like, I think it works. Perhaps the only thing preventing Demogorgon from taking over the rest of the Abyss was his own dual nature. A bit like the Gale Halloween build? A little bit. A little bit. A little bit. Despite his internal madness, Demogorgon was extremely creative and relished experimentation and innovation. That's interesting. I actually like that little tidbit of lore there. Okay. Okay. This build also works for Idol from Killer Instinct. Oh, interesting. Right. Abilities. Demogorgon preferred to avoid direct conflict. There you go, a reason to be a social manipulator. Instead of using magic to help his servants, Demogorgon could hypnotize with a gaze, or drive creatures around him to terror and insanity just at the sight of him. His whip-like tail had the ability to drain the life energy right out of a limbing foe. Okay, so... Hypnotic Pattern, Fear, Vampiric Touch? Okay, this is going in the checklist. Hypnotic Pattern. Oh my god, the music again! Every so often, like, yeah, really, yeah, okay, I get it. We're hitting the idea where we're getting a solid idea for this build. We don't need, literally, whatever this is. Farronwoods, please. Thank you, that's better. Oh, it's like one of those videos where it's like 10 hours of silence interrupted by like the metal pipe sound. Like you just get like hit with something like midway through while you're focused. Vampiric Touch, yeah, those are all Warlock spells too. Yeah, so what was I on? Hypnotic Pattern, Fear, and Draining Life Energy. Fear, Draining Life, Vampiric Touch? We'll have to see. Why can't I not spell today? Ooh. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, but that's the thing. Again, you have to pick and choose when you rage, but it can work. There is things like the illithid powers that do allow you to drain HP as well, though, so we could use those. His tentacles infected a withering disease that could cause living creatures to rot away, and a similar effect to that of cause disease. Okay, I'll add that to the list, but there's not something that immediately comes to mind. Ring disease? Question mark? I'm not sure how well I can implement that one, but we'll see. Just flavor that as necrotic damage, I guess. Ray of Enfeeblement. Ah! That's actually... Yeah, Zim. Zim, actually. That's a good idea. I'll put that as a maybe. If we can get it somehow. I don't know if we can get that on Warlock, can we? Unless I'm forgetting. Is that on Goo Warlock? Yeah, Eyebite or Contagion maybe, but there's no way we're getting the levels for that, unfortunately. He was extremely resistant to magic. Makes me think of Bear Barbarian, but that's so fucking overdone. An accomplished spellcaster, Demogorgon was capable of innately casting a number of spells. Detect magic, dispel magic, fear, cool. Feeble mind, major image, project image, and telekinesis. I could see us using the telekinetic braces then, but that is concentration. But it does also fit the goo vibe. So I'm going to put telekinesis in as a potential thing. I like that idea. There you go. Demogorgon was comfortable underwater. Very specific little tidbit there. The Spectator's Eyes Amulet also gives spells. That's true, yeah. Ray of Enfeeblement is on every Warlock. Ah, okay, I see. Don't know why I forgot that. The more you make these builds, the more I think it's a shame we don't have level 20 in this game. Okay. If you want to play this game as a D&D simulator, then yes. It is a shame that we don't have level 20. But you have to understand, when you get to D&D's level 20, like 17 to 20, you're in tier 4 of play, which is listed by the official D&D books. That's the level where you're fighting gods and multiversal threats. And for BG3's more grounded and character-driven story, I don't think level 20 is an appropriate level of power for the narrative that's trying to be told there. If we got a DLC expansion, which obviously we won't do, but just for the sake of hypothesizing, if we got a big expansion which had us delving into this, like, more, like a heavy level threat, like the Descent into Avernus, for example, maybe then level 20 is more justifiable if you're fighting something like Zariel or something like that. But I feel like with the narrative that BG3 has, level 12 is, I think, a decent stopping point. And I feel like if you do start getting into level 20 builds, again, looking at this from a build making perspective and what I do on my channel, I think level 20 breaks the game open way too much and actually stifles creativity in some ways because you're not playing with the restriction, right? If that makes sense. Why is it so loud? This might be the worst video playlist I've ever suggested. I'm going to switch to something else. This is a video I know is good. There we go. That's better. The Neverbrain does seem to fit that though. Okay, but how do I put this? The Neverbrain, even with its level of power, is not on the same level as the stuff you fight at level 20 in D&D. It just isn't. It's hard to explain in a way that makes a ton of sense. Like, and yeah, that's also a good point, Isra, that Isra's just made. Like, the range of 3 to 14 is considered the ideal range of play for D&D, and it's where a lot of campaigns stop. So I think Baldur's Gate 3 has that right idea. Tier 4 is basic, yeah, so Tier 4 would be fighting Bull directly, not resisting his corruption. That's a good point, so Sylph gets that, right? like, don't get me, like, maybe that's something that can be explored further in, like, other games with other settings. Like I say, Solasta, the second game coming out soon, and the first game, they play with high levels. And they might have more room to expand on that. But I don't know yet. I don't feel like BG3 is the game to have level 20 in. Because, again, then there's the absolute existential nightmare of balancing a game around upwards of 4 level 20 characters. Like, the game is just not designed to handle that level of power. Yeah, the closest thing you ever get to tier 4 is Merkel's avatar. Exactly, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, BG3 does break the tiers of play rule a little bit, and you do get to fight some things that perhaps you shouldn't, like the avatar of Merkel. But honestly, that was more of a, like, you've beaten Kefric down, so the actual form to take the avatar in was weakened anyway, so it's not as strong as tier 4 play. Raphael definitely being the overall closest in terms of power, because he's like the game's hidden super boss, being that high level, like that's definitely, he feels more like a level 15 encounter that you can overcome with good teamwork and such like that. And then obviously the Neverbrain, yes, technically that is a massive threat that could arise, but it is also stopped by 4 level 12 characters in a realistic and conventional way, right? I don't know. I think there's room to debate on that, whether level 20 would fit BG3, but I personally think it doesn't. Especially when you look at what some of the classes get at those higher levels, you'd think that there's no threat to them. They are basically demigods. And I don't see some of these characters as being demigod level characters, right? But you get what I mean, right? Hi, Leo! Sorry, I missed your comment there. I got into rant mode again. Anyways, moving back to what we're actually supposed to be doing, and that is Demogorgon. Demogorgon lived on the 88th layer of the Abyss, known as the Gaping Maw. This was the layer consisting of the Great Sea and the briny water broken by tall, sharp, and ugly rock. Fuck, promontories? Okay. Demogorgon's phalanx, called Abyssum, okay, consisted of 2 twin towers roughly shaped like tightly coiled serpents, crowned at the top with a skull-shaped... This sounds awesome. The 2 towers were linked by a bridge near the top. Most of the fortress lay underwater beneath the towers, and the reefs and caverns near the fortress were home to Aboleth Kraken, and... not going to pronounce that, which constantly warred with each other and worshipped Demogorgon in his palace above. Dude, this guy has krakens under him. That's insane. Fish, no! Guys! No! You can't just see the mention of 2 towers and immediately jump to that. Okay? You can't. Oh, it's the second Lord of the Rings movie wouldn't even exist. And it almost didn't because of that. Ah, yes, my palace in the abyss. Abyssum. That's why I paused when I read it. Yeah, so basically, the second Lord of the Rings film was actually called The Twin Towers, but then the 9/11 event happened, and then they had to change the movie, and I think actually a scene got deleted, if I remember correctly, which showed one of the towers being destroyed. Don't quote me on that, because I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but I swear that was a thing. Just saying. We don't always need to go there. Chaos would if he was here, but... Right. Activities. Demogorgon conducted several experiments in his realm. He was credited with the creation of chimeras, ettins, casters, mirrors, and retrievers. He made golden retrievers? Oh, they're so cute. Oh. Never mind, what the hell is that? That's a spider. That's a mech spider. It's cool as shit, but that's not... that's not what I was thinking of. Anyways. With the tuning of the first step... Oh, and with the turning of the first ever Death Knight. Oh, okay. St. Karov, he sometimes also blesses some Ettins who devote to him by transforming them into echoes of Demogorgon. He invented a plague known as the Scalepox Cloud, a series of clouds of mist that roamed both the Gaping Maw and the Guttering Grove. Okay. Kinda cute, though. Not so golden. Dark Retrievers. It's cute and I will name him Fred. The duel lived, duel with Prince of the Abyss, Master of the Mysterious King of the Deviants, Demogorgon, you are my lord. Demogorgon's cult was relatively small compared to true deities, but much larger than those of most fiends. He was worshipped by the intelligent manta ray race known as the... Okay, Ixachites? Let's look at the actual pronunciation. Ixachiul. Chul. Listen, let's listen to it.
Ixachitul.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna call them Ixies. That's their new name. I'm not even going to attempt that. Who drew power from the Abyss itself in order to become more powerful spellcasters. Yeah, no, literally, yeah. Go Warlock, 100%. In turn, vital energy drained by the vampiric was directly transferred into Demogorgon via an unknown abyssal mechanism. Demogorgon's other worshippers include troglodytes, Kuatoa, and other humanoids, particularly evil humans. Okay, so I think maybe we can use the Kuatoa's buff, maybe in this build. Particularly evil humans. His cult prospered in times of chaos and caused great destruction wherever it was found. Okay, definitely barbarian. Temples to Demogorgon were split in half, with one side representing Amuel and the other representing Hithrodaya. Demogorgon's domains were chaos, corruption, demonic, and evil. His symbol was that of a forked tail, often wrapped around a skull or a sword. Demogorgon was sufficiently powerful to offer patronage pacts with warlocks. There we go. Who usually kept quasits as familiars. Ah, that's why you guys were on about Pact of the Chain. Right. Shit, that might be necessary. Are we actually going to have 2 Pact of the Chain Warlocks back to back? Or are we just going to get Shovel? Probably Shovel, right? I think this is more of just a get Shovel deal. I think this is more of a get Shovel deal. I'm gonna pop Shovel in here. As part of the checklist. Yeah, we could just get Shovel. I think just getting Shovel makes more sense. They're not meant to be used in combat. His most devout followers were granted magic boons, such an aspect of his dual minds that conferred resistance to mind-altering effects. Okay, resistance to charm. Oh, look! Vampiric Touch. Literally right there. As well as Enlarge, Reduce, and Charm Person. I wonder if this needs to be a Dwagar with the Enlarge, Reduce. Maybe. Maybe this needs to be a Dwagar, maybe? Half-elf? I guess, yeah, for Quill. But I don't know, I don't think we need to be that. Who knows? Relationships, history... What are we on for time? Half an hour. Huh. I think we've mostly got it. Oh, sweet Jesus, that's terrifying. Look at... Oh, that's awful. Ugh. Ugh, I don't like that one. Ugh. I didn't mean to back out. Ugh, go away. Maybe Giant Bob instead? Maybe half-elf to get as big as possible? It's ugly, I love it. I swear to God, I say, ew, thing gross, so you guys are like, but it's cute. Okay, you cannot tell me. That is awful. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I don't like it. What even is that? That is Demogorgon. That's a different interpretation. Stop. You absolute heathens. This is what it's like to be a streamer. Everything you say is contradicted for no reason other than to contradict the streamer. That's what you do. Stop it, Sim. Danger Noodle. You guys, I swear. Right, okay. I think I've got a pretty decent checklist. Let's exit the Forgotten Realms and head back over to BG3 and look at the class split. So, Barbarian Warlock, absolutely. Definitely Great Old One Warlock. We're going to get Mortal Reminder, which is fun on a Barbarian, because critical hit shenanigans. Dissonant Whispers, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Detect Thoughts, definitely feels right. Bestow Curse, yeah, this all feels good. So now it's really just a case of, like, what Barbarian subclass are we going for? That is the question. Pact of the Blade, probably, yeah. Wild Heart Barb and get the monkey flavor. I'll be honest, that is kind of what I was leaning into. But Berserker also feels right. Because of this. Like, do we do a 2-10 split here? I don't know. That doesn't feel right in my head, weirdly enough. Berserker does require a lot of levels to get the most out of it. But we have Mindless Rage, which means we cannot be charmed or frightened, and calm emotions cannot end our rage. That feels right. For when we go full monkey mode. But then Wild Heart, we'd get Speak of Animals. We could go Bear Heart for the resistance to magic damage, which Demogorgon is known to have. Like... like, he's known to be incredibly resistant to all forms of magic. That feels like it makes sense. But there is also the Tiger's Bloodlust for the bleeding angle with the isn't it? Yeah. We wanted to look at this, didn't we? Maybe. See, this is where it's tricky, right? Because I feel like there's so many options you could go down that would all make sense. Level 6 Wild Heart Honey Badger seems perfect. If you're poisoned, frightened, or charmed at the start of your turn, you have a 50% chance to begin raging without expending a rage charge. That sense, I don't know. You could trigger that for free with rotten food. I suppose. It would technically make you more resource efficient. Rotten food doesn't require any action to eat? Wait, really? Huh. Yeah, so what the chimpanzee does is it gives you resistance to fall damage, and throwing camp supplies will blind the target. It's a weird one. Like, the only thing really linking that to Demogorgon is the monkey connection. That's so bad, it's amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of Wild Heart. I also like the idea of Berserker. I don't know. But I also like the idea of Tiger. But I also like the idea of Bear. I don't know. This is where it's tricky. You use the bag that... Sorry, I've not seen everything. Wild Heart level 6 Honey Badger. Just go ape to counteract the things that you were supposed to resist. Exclude Bear because it's kind of overused. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It was just... This is mainly just here because it's like, there's a thing where it says he resists all magic damage, but it's like, yeah, but... It's not very interesting mechanically. I do agree. So I guess really in my head, it's kind of a toss-up between Tiger's Bloodlust here, to Tiger Wild Heart, maybe with the level 6 thing, to get one of these, and then go from there. Hey, Pastry. Good to see you. We are building Demogorgon, as has been stated in the chat. Demogorgon, Bagascara. Wolverine aspect is a better option for Tiger's Bloodlust. Yeah, because it reduces their movement speed to 0. But Berserker just feels so on point. That Mindless Rage at level 6 just feels so good. Like, the pure immunity to being charmed which is so in line with Demogorgon, just makes so much sense. And if, again, okay, let me put it to you this way. If we want to lean into the feral monkey going berserk aspect, Frenzy with the, like, enraged throw does make sense. You're literally going apeshit. I'm just saying. Does improved chain pact improve shovel? I think... I can't remember, actually. I think it technically does, but I know it doesn't work for things like Scratch and Boo and that, but it might work for shovel? Like... I'm almost thinking, like, 7-5 either way. To get Mindless Rage, so that we're immune to being charmed. We get Frenzy Strike for literally going apeshit, as well as Enraged Throw. And we combine that with Great Old One with literally two sides of the same coin. Shovel, yes, but no other unique servants? Yeah, summons? Yeah. Kuatoa makes no sense RP-wise, because you would want the Kuatoa to worship the Demogorgon. Yeah, but by worshipping us, they're technically worshipping the Demogorgon, because we get our power from the Demogorgon, and we're converting them to Demogorgonism from Bull, right? Fling the poop scraper deck. I love my community. I genuinely do. That's not even a joke. You guys are amazing. You always know how to give me a laugh. Like, that silence that was just there was me, like, internally laughing, like, really hard. Demogorgon is the two-headed monkey dude. Prince, yeah, kind of a prince of demons. Frenzy Strike means more attacks, more chance to crit, more chance to trigger the goo passive. Also true. That is also true. I'm leaning more into Frenzy. I think it makes more sense. I'm leaning more into that. I've done bleeding barbarian builds before with Tiger. There might be another way to inflict bleed. Wait, hang on. By pickpocketing the sickle and passing dialogue checks, it's possible to get the buff for the entire active party without having to sacrifice a companion. This can be done by luring pool drip away from the area if it triggers a cutscene. That triggers a cutscene with minor illusion and or me. Ow. That is kind of funny. Yeah, when was the last time I did a Berserker Barbarian build? That's actually a good point. Shit, hang on. Oh, look. Wasn't it 8 months ago, a year ago, 9 months ago? Was it Zealot of Bull? Was this it? Did this use Frenzy? No, that was Zealot. Obviously, now when I'm looking at it. I think it... Was it the Halloween Gale build was the last one to use it? It might have been. Yeah, we've not had Berserker in a while. Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, so I don't think the Bull buff is necessary on this build anymore if we're going Berserker. I do agree with that. Right. Okay. I think we got a pretty solid idea now of what we want. The question is, so we've got Barbarian and we've got Great Old One. Bleed can be inflicted with the Amulet of Bull. That is true. Your Bloodflame Hunter build has a good weapon? Right, true. Remember, packed weapons can't be thrown. Who says we need to throw our weapon? Who says we need to throw our weapon? We just pick up the closest thing to us and fucking send that shit. Could be a goblin, could be a barrel. Just saying. Okay, now this music feels too chill for, like, what the build that we're making. Because, like, we're talking about, like, this frenzied motherfucker who is going to be throwing all sorts of shit and just being crazy. I think we need a slightly more appropriate, like, OST for the rest of the stream as we kind of close things out here. Give me 1 second. That's better. So yeah. We'll make it too loud. Yeah. But yeah, I'm thinking... Absolutely, we're going for, like, a big... Like... You know, obviously, so yeah, the first half is, like, the social manipulation, and then the other half is the frenzy. So how much do we want to lean into either one? Let's see. I like the idea of having Beguiling Influence for the proficiency in Deception and Persuasion, although at some point we will also be getting the Illithid Expertise power to give us expertise in all three. Oh, but we get the Barbarian Intimidation checks, though. Those are so fun. Right, what split do we want? What split do we want? Entropic Ward? I don't think we need Entropic Ward, really. Six split, maybe? I'm just trying to see what we get, because, yeah, we're not really into the Great Old One for the spells as much, I don't think. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some that we are going to want here. Vampiric Touch, obviously, we do want that one, because that's literally one of his abilities. Even if it won't be used as much here, it will still be useful. We do need Fear, and we do need Hypnotic Pattern, so I think we're level 5 Warlock at least. So I think 5-7 makes sense. And since I do want the level 6 Berserker feature here, I'm thinking 5-7, 7 on the Barbarian. Because 7 on the Barbarian would also give us Feral Instinct, which is very, very good. Cannot be surprised. Very nice feature. Why not use the Sword of Chaos? We could use the Sword of Chaos as well, but I'm still getting Vampiric Touch on the build because it's literally descripted as being one of his abilities, so we're still getting it. But the Sword of Chaos as an endgame weapon makes a hell of a lot of sense. Also, the look is metal as fuck, so we definitely want it. Just use the Warlock for utility and invocations. Yes, but we do also want that social manipulation aspect. There is also the Illithid powers as well, which obviously we can get some stuff from here that will work during Rage. So Psionic Overload. We want Favorable Beginnings for sure. Force Tunnel. Luck of the Far Realms. Probably Charm. Shield of Thralls also works. To be honest, just as many Illithid powers as you can get, realistically. Absorb Intellect as well for the self-heal. Yeah, I think you just get as many Illithid powers as you can. I don't think there's any reason to select any specific ones. Makes sense that since demons are all about chaos, yeah. Sword of Chaos, for sure, goes into this build. I think that makes sense to be our kind of main endgame weapon. Boom, I'll put that in the on the checklist for me. Right, eat those worms up, god damn it. But yeah, I'm thinking 5-7 split on the Warlock levels to the Barb. So yeah, Goo 5, Barb 7, Frenzy Barb for sure. I'm liking this. I think we get everything, because we can be high charisma as well, which will feel very good on a build like this. For the invocations, Beast Speech honestly makes sense. Again, Monkey. We can talk to Monkey. Beguiling Influence, absolutely. Devil's Sight, so that nothing can stop our sight. You like making evil builds, but you'll never make an evil character. I've only done one evil run on BG3. Like, to this day, I've still only ever fully completed, like, 4 runs of BG3. The rest all stop midway through, or just for build testing. Maybe Cleric 1 for Death Cleric? I don't really know what Death Cleric's going to offer us here. In terms of, like, just utility, I mean, you do get some extra multi-classing proficiencies just from going into Cleric, but Death... I don't know. Stuff like... Yeah, I don't really see what this is giving us. You just like me, for real? Yeah, despite my literal hundreds of hours in this game, all dedicated to YouTube and testing and all that, I've still not completed very many runs. I don't think there's a one-level dip here I would really use. I like the split that we have, just being the two classes. I don't think there's a reason to take a dip anywhere else. I think we're pretty good on that front. Right. I'm happy with that. I feel like I got a solid basis to work off of. Yeah. No, I think we're good on that front. Let me check my actual BG3 time for you guys, because it's actually not as much as you would probably expect. Yeah, 936 hours I have spent in BG3. Not a lot, all things considered. But a lot of my time making builds is actually spent outside of the game. A lot of it is sitting on the wiki and theory crafting rather than actually being in-game. Because usually when I'm in-game, I have a pretty solid idea of the build. I just do a few quick test combats, see if it works, make any adjustments, then record the video and the combat footage. Like, it's not... A lot of my time is not actually spent in-game. That's a lot, but less than I expected. Exactly. For example, and I'm going to out him here, longtime community member Sinless, who is a buddy of mine and also a fellow player in a D&D campaign, his BG3 time is 2,121 hours. He's done a little bit more than me in terms of actual gameplay. But yeah, if that makes you think I'm a fraud or whatever, like for not having as many hours as you would think. For example, in the last 2 weeks, I've only played this game for 10 hours. Again, most of my time actually making stuff for YouTube is outside of the game, which is weird to say, but that is just my method of how I go about things. Probably, yeah. Definitely a fraud. What if you go wild magic for the uncontrollable rage and magic? I see what you're saying, and I understand, like, the flavor of it could be pretty fun. But at the end of the day, I don't think it gives us enough that honestly fits the build. And mechanically, with the split that we're going for, I just do not care for these features. Especially when our spell slots come back on a short rest anyway. Like, the Dark Tendrils would make sense, but we're only getting that 1/8 of the time. The rest of it doesn't really fit the build, personally. I prefer Frenzy for the more control that we actually have. 1 level wild magic dip? I don't know, I don't feel like this is wild magic, and I'll tell you why this isn't wild magic, because Demogorgon is known for being a master of magic. He is a controlled spellcaster. His magic is not wild. That's the thing. He actually is a very accomplished spellcaster. You have 389 days in Skyrim. Jesus. 1 level of shadow magic? Again, though, what does that offer us that we actually want? Again, I feel like this is almost us trying to shoehorn in one of the new classes when we honestly don't need to. You'd get Eyes of the Dark, and you'd get Strength of the Grave, which I can see. Strength of the Grave, letting you get back up after reaching 0 hit points feels very cool, but if we want that, then we just use frickin' After Death to us part. 1 level Wizard Dip for Spell Scribe, but again, what spells are we scribing? Really? I don't think we need to overcomplicate things too much further than we have. I think what we've got is good. Like, yeah, we'd get some cantrips. Yeah, we'd get some first level spells. Shield, obviously, being a very nice option. But I don't really want to spend our Warlock spell slots on that, really. Shovel scribe. Yeah, but you don't need to scribe shovel. You just get him permanently if you do the quest right. Is chaos and order in one, two sides of the same coin? Yeah, exactly. I get what you're saying. But I just don't see a reason to overcomplicate things further than we already have. I think we've got a pretty solid basis to work off of, and I know what I want to do with it. And then next time we can have Xanathar. Suggestion from Jason, very, very good. In fact, tell you what. 12 level dip into over the ground. You know, just a quick dip. We'll just have a quick dip. Yeah, you know what? Let's actually have some suggestions for the next round. Before I sign off the stream, let's have some suggestions for the next round. We have Xanathar. Yeong. Who is this? Who is this? Oh, I opened that in the wrong tab. Hang on. Let me bring it over to the actual tab. 1 second. Whoa! He looks like is he like the oop shit? I accidentally backed out of the page. Whoops. When's the next stream? Okay, so the next Patron build stream will probably be in 2 weeks from now. Again, provided there aren't any scheduling conflicts, which tend to happen with me. Otherwise, I do plan... I have a week off of work next week, so I do plan at some point next week to stream Solasta 2, and possibly a bit of the original Solasta, because I do own it, and I want to stream the Solasta 2 demo, because I am straight up thinking that after BG3 is done with, Solasta might be my next big game that I cover on the channel. Because I think it's going to be the next... This is just my prediction. I think Solasta 2 is going to be the next BG3. I really do think it's going to be the next D&D game. So I want to have a look. Yeah, so he's like the Null patron, so we could actually make some use of the thing like the Null weapon that gives you madness. All right, I'll put that into consideration for next time. Sorry, I missed some other stuff. Xanathar would be good for a Wild Magic Sorcerer tip. Yeah, I've got Xanathar there from earlier. Shrek patron. Is Tasha a Warlock patron? Oh. I actually don't know this. I just know Tasha's known for writing a good book. Okay. Tasha! I'll put it on the list. I could actually fucking do it. Thank you. That would actually be a very, very cool idea. Charon? I'm just going to search here. Ooh. The Boatman of the River Styx. Could be interesting. The Pale Knight. Prince of Frost. Oh, okay, yeah, I see why you want these. I see why you want this guy. I could definitely see why you want this guy. Pronounced Karen. Oh, god damn it. I just realized. That was a good bait. Okay, that was actually a good bait. Yes, Karen. the Karen patron. Yeah, Chloe, I think Tasha's a good idea. God damn it, Buba, you fucking got me. I actually fell for it. Oh, I can't believe you actually got me. Okay. Yeah, Prince of Frost was the son of Titania. Yeah. I think we heard about him earlier. Okay, Prince of Frost, maybe like, I guess this is kind of like that one dude from World of Warcraft as well. Everyone kept telling me to make a build about and I never did. Let me pull up the right thing here. There we go. Boop. Pale Knight. Sounds familiar. Not here, though. Oh. Oh, Pale Knight. Not Knight is in the armor. Knight is in the Knight. Ooh. Okay. Interesting. We'll consider. The Pale Knight looks interesting. Right, I got 5. That one, dude. Right, Sylvanos. Alright, this is the last one I'll look at. Because I do have to go soon. Or Sylvanos. Wasn't this more of a deity, though? Or am I stupid? Okay, I don't know if that's a typo. Can it? No. Hubert, stop. I know that one, I think. No, I don't trust you anymore, Hubert. You've broken the trust. I don't broke that. You broke it. You broke my trust. I don't believe you. Don't even stop. Don't even start. Don't even stop. Why you cried wolf? This is your fault. But okay, pastry, stop it. If I swear to God, if this is some sort of fucking bait. Okay, thank you. Who leads this place? I don't know. That is true. Yeah, that is true, Chloe. Oh, Mephistopheles. I suppose a Mephistopheles patron build would actually work. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good idea. Right, we've got Xanathar, Yongu, Tasha, Prince of Frost, Pale Knight, and Mephistopheles. All very, very cool ideas. I like it. I like it a lot. I think this will work. You're not baiting it. Not this time. Not this time, Hubert. But yeah. Just scrolling down to the page, you just see the Abyss Baron Mulkirov. Imagine being known for being... Okay. Why does he look like that? Oh, I don't know. But yeah, I think we got a pretty solid idea of what to work on in the future. But unfortunately, I do have to end the stream here. As it is the cutoff time. But I think we got some pretty solid ideas going into the next stream. I think we came up with some very solid ideas this stream that I will expand upon and make into videos. But yeah, thank you all for coming. I think this was another fun stream. Again, sorry it was delayed. I would have done this last week, like I said, but obviously things came up. But I'm hoping to do another one of these in 2 weeks. So obviously after the 2 weekly Patreon builds are done, we will do another live stream. And then, like I say, I do hope to stream Celastus sometime next week, because I want to have a look at the sequel demo and even the original game a little bit more. So yeah. Thank you all for coming out. It's been a fun time as always. You guys taking the mick of me as usual. But yeah, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!